Viewer discretion is expressed for the following program. If you are easily triggered or offended, please exercise caution while viewing this program, because the hosts really don't care. Warning, this show is not for children, and not for coworkers either.
Oh no! Oh my audio is not doing its job. That's not good. I'm the only one that hears.
We never have any problems, JJ.
I don't think about this until like as the titles are rolling. I'm like, oh. Good morning,
Hello.
Back to another episode of Your Two Days. Oh, okay. Let's do the title now. Another episode of Your Two Days.
We start with it always.
Yeah, but it wasn't there. Defund Leftist. Get what she asked for. That's today's title. All right.
Jeez, that's a rough title this morning, JJ.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I mean, it's better than like having like a rapist on your title card.
I mean, we've had pedophiles and transmissions.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Hello, Deacon. How are you, sir?
I'm tired this morning, and I'm ready to get going.
All right, sounds great. Hey, it's Friday. Not Fridays. It's the Liar's Table.
Did we just start doing the show yesterday?
Deacon and I were talking before. We already did this. We've
already had our hee-haws, our telephone call.
It's Friday. It's Liar's Table, and that means we bring in the pastor of disaster. It's Dave, Sinister Minister. Isn't that what his thing says? Yeah, that's a pretty good name. I like that name.
Sunday.
That's right.
We'll give you the whole pew, but you'll only need the edge.
Can you get some hellfire in there too, Deacon? Got any hellfire?
Preach hellfire and brimstone, and make you love the Lord.
You thought you were a good person, but you didn't know how bad you were. All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the show. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, leave a comment, do your job. We're doing all of this to try to entertain you Friday morning. You could do like one thing. Push the button, push the thumbs up button.
There are literally apps, and that's what you do on the game.
That's all you do on it.
Button.
Boop.
I watched my son in his younger years. I'm like, what is the purpose of this game? Oh, you've got to tap this egg 10,000 times and it opens. What? You got to do. You've got to
give yourself carpal tunnel. This is the carpal tunnel app.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Morning, Dave. How are you?
I have carpal tunnel from trying to update my watch last night.
No.
Google Pixel Watch up until recently had a feature where you could force the update, the monthly update, by tapping on the version number. And it like takes a minute. And I went like 2.5 minutes last night and like gave up.
That's terrible.
What the crap? That's weird.
Hey, do you know that on you use Discord? You guys use Discord. Of course you do. I talked to you on Discord. If you click on the little Discord on the desktop app, the little Discord in the top left corner 15 times, it'll sing to you. It'll say Discord, and every time you close the app and open it again, it'll sing to you. Discord. No. That's a secret. Easter egg.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, it really does.
Nuh-uh.
It does. Do it right now. 15 times. Click on the Discord top right corner of the app.
Screen? No, of the
right
app.
there.
Did it.
He just did it. It's saying to him, close it and open it up again. It'll sing again.
Oh my word. This is so cool.
The little Discord symbol up at the very top left.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey.
No, it doesn't.
That's okay.
Just did.
All right. Today's
mine said Discada.
Oh, are you in Spanish? Discordo. Yeah.
I did too.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, today's first story, the title card, the card of the day, Defund Leftist gets exactly what she wants. This young lady is a
Are you going to let me do my
co-chair or
song first before you start talking about bloody
let's do
people's
music. I
faces?
forgot. I'm just so excited about celebrating
JJ.
people when they get what they want. Please, music first.
Well, I'm excited for you to hear this song today. You're not going to get to listen to it right now, but this one is especially for you from the Sinister Minister here. All right, because he reminded me of this song. I hadn't heard this song in 20 years. I bet I hadn't heard this song in 20 years. So you need to listen to Little Miss Magic by Jimmy Buffett. If you are the dad of a daughter, you have to listen to this song. Period. That's it. That's all I'm going to say.
This better not be some song that makes me cry. You son of a
You're
bitch.
gonna cry.
You will cry.
You will cry.
I don't.
If you don't have a daughter, you might not cry. If you don't like your daughter, you might not cry. But if you like your daughter and you have a daughter, you will probably shed a tear.
I don't like songs that make me feel things. So I resent this.
That's music, JJ. Music can take you to music can make you feel. Isn't it weird how sound and it can produce memories and feel? It's so wonderful. And that's what this is, the yin yang that I was telling you about.
45 years I've been feeling as little as possible. I don't see a strong reason to start now.
And that's so funny because I can watch like a television commercial and I'm like, that's so pretty.
It's happened to me. It's happened to me like a couple of times, but not a lot of times. In fact, you know what? Hold on. I got a sissy sassy dad story. My kids were about 2 weeks ago. My kids are downstairs doing something, playing. They want to watch a cartoon. Okay, well, what do you guys want to watch? Raya. It's halfway through the movie. Okay, well, whatever. I don't even know what this is, but it's probably okay. So I turn it on, and then I go sit with them while they're watching it because Cass is upstairs, and I'm just going to sit here messing with my phone, and I'm watching this Raya movie, and all of her friends sacrifice themselves to give up those gems, and I was just like, what just happened? And I almost cried watching a cartoon.
Yay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it's a great movie. Anyway, okay. All right. Now let's talk about some
feelings. Yeah, let's talk about some bloodied up people that you want.
Yeah, here we go. A Democratic chairperson for a Democratic Party, I think they're called DFL or whatever, 56 for in Minnesota, has been since 2020 advocating for LGBTQ, RWMZ, all the alphabet letters, all of the social justice bullet points that they have on the social justice manifesto, including in 2020, defund the police. Defund the police. Well, she got what she wanted. They defunded the police. They had a measure in Minnesota and restricted funding and had to do some cutbacks, not unlike other major cities across the nation, including Austin.
Right.
She got what she wanted. And it's so good to see people when they get what they want. So here we have a couple of stories here. Here we got the vice chair, Minnesota Democratic Party, who advocated for dismantling the police. Oh, she got violently beaten and carjacked. This is, it's like, okay, it's not funny that people get beat up.
Laughing
obviously,
at the fact that she got hurt.
No, we're not. She demanded this. This is the obvious consequence of not having police in an urban environment or having under police and having limited resources. And unfortunately for this woman who advocated for this, somebody has to suffer this before policies will be reversed and we will start doing things that are protecting people.
As a member of society that in a person that disagreed with her stance, I would rather her feel the brunt of her I would rather her feel the consequences of her actions rather than Joe Q. Public feel the consequences of their actions.
Absolutely.
Who 99.9% of the time always gets the consequences. The politicians and they never get any consequences hardly ever. And she is now seeing the consequences of an action. That's physics, ladies and gentlemen.
Shivanthi Sathanandan, can we buy an extra A there? A radical leftist and the second vice chairwoman of the Democratic Farmer Labor Party. I bet has this woman ever been on a farm? Was left bruised and bloodied during the incident and is calling for accountability despite her own history of being a notable defund the police agitator. She said in a Facebook post that she suffered a broken leg, deep lacerations to her head, and cuts and bruises all over her body when 4 armed juveniles allegedly beat her to the ground in front of her children and stole her vehicle in broad daylight.
That's
It's uncomfortable. It don't feel good.
No.
But this could be any other mom of 4 kids that isn't a political junkie and isn't trying to accumulate power, prestige, and respect, and in her own community, isn't trying to get herself lifted up. Here is a post from Cernovich wherein he highlights her own posts from June 5th, 2020. We are going to dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department. Say it with me. Dismantle, clap, Minneapolis, clap, police, clap, department, clap. Clap, 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 clap. We're going to do it. As allies, what can we do now? Listen and learn from our black siblings. Amplify this message right now. Okay, well, Jeremiah Ellison, who was with her there, said, we're going to dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department. And when we're done, we're not simply going to glue it back together. We're going to rethink public safety. Well, here's Philippe Cunningham of Ward 4 Minneapolis City. Important update, Minneapolis City Council holding a special meeting to approve court order outlining immediate changes for MPD framework for systemic change. They got exactly what they wanted. And here is Sivarta on, or whatever her name is, on last week. Look at my face. Remember me when you are thinking about letting juveniles and young people out of custody to roam our streets instead of holding them accountable.
Now it's now it's something brand new. Well, what happens when you take up this, position and the juveniles are held accountable, but the next time you get carjacked, those guys aren't 17, they're 18. Are you going to pick up a whole new position on that, ma'am?
She went all the way from defund the police to put kids in jail.
Yeah, this is how old is she? Let me guess. She's like 28, right? 32. Is this
she's probably in her 30s. Probably so.
Between 28 and 32.
Yeah. Here's let's see. I think that's her busted face. I think I had here her.
It's terrible that she got the injuries, and especially in front of the children.
It is. I don't want her getting
anything
beat
like that happening to children.
The rest of us, her political opposition, not us, but people whereabouts we would be, we're trying to prevent that from happening.
Exactly.
We're not exactly the biggest supporters of cops.
I am, but
he is.
What message does this send to her kids?
Exactly.
Because her kids witnessed this.
Exactly.
That is going to mess them
exactly.
up.
They see their mother go through this. They seen their mother petition for certain changes and whatnot. They don't quite understand what's going on, but they see this horrific incident to their mother happen, and they just know what they've been told. Because once again, we only knew what we were told as kids. Once you become an adult and you look back on certain things, you're like, my parents completely lied to me, Yeah. So, they did it for didn't maliciously, but you're exactly right. This is detrimental to these kids. Not only they will have problems, but it jades the way that they see things, and it jades their thinking towards crime or cops or whatever, her mom's complaining about.
It can create the exact opposite view of the world, because I think it can go too far the other way as well.
Now, don't get too optimistic there, because this woman is like deep into her psychopathy of thinking that she's fighting for what's right and true and just, and it was just this one thing she slipped up on. She's still going to be advocating, and she's still going to be brainwashing her kids and telling them.
To her credit, the first person she thanks in her post are the officers.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you look down there, then the EMS and all the other first responders.
I'm sure they were like, hey, we're grateful. Sorry for my cousin that lost his job, though. My brother, my uncle had to retire early. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see how far it goes. This isn't the first woman that this has happened to either. We didn't cover it on the show, but I think I'm getting some feedback from you, Dave. Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure. I'm hearing the speaker. So this isn't the first woman this happened to. There was a woman up in I think Seattle, Washington, lifelong Democrat in Seattle, supported the people doing the Chaz stuff, doing the autonomous zone and left. And then she got beaten savagely. And she changed her political affiliation to Republican after that. So, I mean, some of these people, and I'm not saying the Republicans are good, but supporting Democrats that are obviously trying to put in place policies that dismantle safety. Well, sometimes it takes people going as far as getting completely beaten before they will be like, maybe I was mistaken on something.
Well, JJ, this goes back. Let me tell you a little story. All right. Because we're all three dads. So when my son Deacon was very, very young and just walking around, we went to my brother's house and they had a radiator. He lives in a basement and they lived in it's just an underground type house. And he has radiators that in the winter, and my son Deacon grabbed the radiator and got burned, and we had this whole conversation about being a parent. And you can tell your child, or in this case, the Democrats, you can tell them, if you touch this, you're going to burn your hand. Now, when you burn your hand, it's going to cause blisters. It's going to hurt. You're not going to be able to touch. You can explain everything there is to know about a burn, but they are not going to truly know what a burn feels like until they get burned themselves. So these Democrats, we can sit here and say, you're going to defund the cops and you're going to get carjacked by a bunch of juveniles. And you're silly.
That'll never happen.
And then it happens. And they're like, I can't believe this happened. We're like, this is getting burned. This is the blister that comes from getting burned. Now you know not to touch the damn pan anymore, because you have now experienced the burn yourself. Nobody told you about the burn. You now have the experience of the burn.
And now they will completely change their ways, and they will learn from this lesson and come around to our way of thinking.
And see, that is where the Democrats and children differ, because children are smarter than Democrats, because the children actually learn and they won't touch the pan anymore.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean,
children slightly dumber than
I thought we did ourselves.
Democrats slightly dumber than children.
Slightly dumber than a 1-year-old.
No. All right. We got some. All right. So
no comment.
Thank you to what's her name again? I'm gonna say her name one more time. I just want to make sure she gets out there. Thank you to Shivanthi Sathanandon for taking one for the team. Hopefully we can fix this stuff up. All right, we got some more fun news here. Fun. Here we go. Danny Masterson, the actor from that 70s show, that little comedy you loved in the 90s. He got 30 years to life for raping 2 women 20 years ago. Well, that's a bummer. We covered this a couple of times before. I think we all liked the 70s show, and he had a show on Netflix too. It was like the Ranch. But this guy has been shielded by and protected by the Church of Scientology, who tried to hassle his accusers. Well, it didn't work. The courts ruled that he did in fact commit these crimes, and he received 30 years to life in prison Thursday for raping 2 women 2 decades ago. Quote, "When you raped me, you stole from me," said one woman who Masterson was convicted of raping in 2003. That's what rape is, a theft of the spirit. You're pathetic, disturbed, and completely violent. The world is better off for you in prison. Los Angeles Superior Court Judge Charlene Olmedo handed down the sentence to the 47-year-old Masterson after hearing statements from the women, pleas from the fairness, and from the defense attorneys. The actor, who has been in custody since May, sat in court wearing a suit. Masterson watched the women without a visible reaction as they spoke, and he maintains his innocence, and his attorneys plan to appeal. In one of the things that he asked for, I don't see it right here. He asked for the sentences to be served concurrently, so 2 15-year sentences to be served concurrently, and the judge said, "Oh no, it's 15 and 15 is 30, sir." So he will be currently, you know how this stuff, legal stuff goes. He'll appeal, maybe they'll.
Okay.
Yeah, he wanted to serve both 15-year sentences at the same time, so he'd only be in jail for 15 years.
That does
That's
work that way
math,
in
dude.
Hollywood?
That's celebrity math.
Does that? Yeah, I mean, does that work for celebrities and politicians? Is that how that works? Because I'm not familiar with that way. I don't think that works that way for normal people.
Let me tell you a story, Deke. Unrelated. Let me tell you a story. When I was a little kid, I'm going to guess probably 4 or 5 because I can barely remember, but I remember this crystal clear.
1923, 1924 is where we're talking.
Yeah, decades ago. I was in the living room. I was playing. I look up and my dad's sitting in a chair, and he has a little box of tomatoes. Those little cherry tomatoes. He's got a little box of them. And I look up at my dad, and I'm just like, "Oh, I want a tomato," but I didn't say it. I'm looking up at him, and he looks at me, and he's just eating those tomatoes, and I didn't say anything. And he ate all of those tomatoes, and then he said, "You don't ask, you don't get." So that's the way it is for Mr. Masterson. You don't ask, you don't get. If you don't try,
even if you ask, you don't get.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's also true. But that was a very valuable lesson for me, and one that caused me many times in my life to ask for things I didn't deserve, and I got a lot of those.
That's very interesting. That was a one little lesson that stayed with you forever, and it's taught you, and it's got you different things in life that you wouldn't have normally got.
Yes,
and for me, that to me is mortifying. I can't imagine either one of my parents not doing anything like that. If I was sitting there watching them, Mom would have gave me every one of them.
Sure.
You would have instantly offered them to me.
And wouldn't you, JJ?
You know what?
Yeah, and
sure,
so would Dad.
Probably.
I mean, Dad would have been like, "Here, you want one?" And I mean,
Sure.
it's hard for me to think.
It's harsh. Isn't it harsh?
I'm not saying it's harsh. I'm just saying it's because the action gave you a consequence that it gives you a point in your life that you wouldn't take that away from yourself. It's not a negative quality about you at all.
I used that so many times.
Exactly.
Just the power of being like, well, I'm just going to see if I can.
Let me tell you one. I've got one very similar that Dad did for me, and it's a little bitty thing like that stayed with me my entire life. But you will see how you're yin and I'm yang on this again.
Okay.
You've heard JJ's yin story. Here's my yang story. So we're sitting in the boat down below the dam, below Kentucky Dam. We used to catfish down there. And it was me and my dad. I'm in the front of the boat. He's in the back of the boat, and I'm probably about 8 or 9 years old, something like that. And there was not very many people out there, and there's a guy way over there, and he goes, my dad's name's John, and he goes, my name, and he goes, John. Dad's like, hey, and you hear this guy go, Dad's like, yeah. Dad's like, yeah, all right, yeah. And I was like, Dad, how did you understand what he said? And Dad goes, I didn't, son. Sometimes you just nod and wave. And I have taken that with me through my entire life. Sometimes you just nod and wave. I don't have a clue what's going on. I don't care to know what's going on. I'm happy for you. Okay.
You seem happy. I'm happy you're happy.
It's great, brother.
Some other time I'll tell you some more about the asking for things I don't deserve, because man, I'm very serious. That to me is very interesting because of that. I don't do that. And that's very interesting that. Oh no.
Most
people don't, because it's embarrassing.
No, I like it. I'm not saying anything bad.
It sounds horrible. It really does.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It doesn't at all. I don't know why you think it is, because we don't think it is.
It's biblical.
Asking for things. And yes, it's you projecting. I was just watching somebody out there. It was a story the other day about, you say you want something, just say it out loud. I want
Right.
to do this.
Don't fish around or make me guess or. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of. I think there's a lot to mine in that moment. I don't exactly think it was intentional, but anyway, I still took a lot out of it.
No,
All right,
but it was a harsh, as a parent, that sometimes you've got to do things that you don't want to do for your children or to your children, like leaving Deacon in there that day when he wanted me to pick him up and it was time for bed and it was killing me and I wanted to go back inside and grab my son, but I couldn't do it because I knew it would be bad for him. It would teach him a bad lesson. So, maybe your father was doing something like that.
Yeah. Maybe. All right.
Maybe he had. Yeah. Okay. Well,
he was a younger man. Okay. This is a great little story here, and by great I mean fucking horrific. A mommy vlogger has been charged with felony child abuse, and she deletes her YouTube channel, or YouTube deletes her channel. So I think this story rolled up through my feed, but we didn't exactly cover it on the show. Maybe a week or two ago. It was a controversial parent, Ruby Frank, formerly charged with felony child abuse. Frank was arrested at the beginning of September, maybe September 1st or so, after her 12-year-old son escaped from her house.
Was this back in August? Wasn't there another one in August?
It was like right at the end of August. This is the same woman. If you and I talked about it.
I hope there's not two.
She is a mother of six. This YouTube woman,
the same woman.
Mother of six was arrested after a 12-year-old son escaped through a window and ran to a neighbor's house, pleading for food and water. Yeah. And the little boy was malnourished and had deep lacerations from being tied up with rope from his malnourishment.
Like duct tape residue on him or something like that.
Yeah. Authorities said they also found Frank's 10-year-old son, 10-year-old malnourished daughter inside the home, and alleged that they believed Frank had knowledge of malnourishment, abuse, and neglect. And so, I mean, this is exactly like, imagine a woman where she's got a beautiful photograph of her and her family standing out front of their house, and everybody's smiling, and they're like, a model photo. That's what she looked like in the news story. And unbeknownst to the rest of us, she had two other kids that were being basically tortured and abused, and she wasn't the only one doing it. There was another person that was her business partner, Jody Hildebrandt, who was also arrested and charged with 6 counts of felony child abuse. Authorities alleged that the 12-year-old boy and the 10-year-old girl were under Hildebrandt's care at her home when the incidents were unveiled at the beginning of December. So now YouTube is saying, "Hey, mommy vlogger, your channel's gone." Prosecutors have formally charged her. Prosecutors charged her, the host of a now deleted 8 passengers channel, with 6 counts of felony child abuse in Washington County, Utah. Neighbors found, and we covered that a minute ago. So, what is it about people that they will both crave attention and celebrity, and yet at the same time,
there is a brand new version of, Ashley and I had this conversation not too long ago. Have you ever heard of I know you probably, both of y'all probably have. You ever heard of the syndrome, Munchausen by proxy syndrome? I think you're muted, Dave. So Munchausen by proxy syndrome, for people that don't know, it's basically these. It was started. This woman that was diagnosed. This woman had all these children that were dying. I think the first child died by natural causes, and she got so much sympathy from people that she loved the sympathy and she craved the sympathy. So she was adopted, or she was having other children and she was killing them. And they were thinking, they couldn't figure out why this woman, and this was back in like the 50s or the 60s or something like that. Yeah. And they could not figure out why. They were thinking it was some sort of genetic, and it was like one of those, she had another kid, it died. Was it this? No, it wasn't that. She had another kid, it died. Well, was it this? No, it wasn't that. It was like trial, like you're fixing a computer. You got to wait until it breaks before you know. So Eventually, she adopted a girl, and that girl lived for a while before that girl died. And then they started doing some real investigation and found out that this woman was killing her children for the sympathy that she was getting. So that was diagnosed in the 60s or whatnot. And there's been women that's been diagnosed with this
crazy.
since. So Ashley and I told her one day, I said, the rise of social media has produced a brand new Munchausen by proxy syndrome that has nothing to do with killing your children or anything like that, but you feed off of that. You know, you see those people on social media that they are the Debbie Downer, that they post everything about their life that's going on and terrible in their life and whatnot. It's because they feed off of people going, oh, sad face praying, honey, are you okay? They feed like a vampire off of that. And these women like this, she fed off of that.
You think so? I mean, it seemed like she. I mean, I'm not saying you're not right about that. She seemed like she was kind of concealing this, but she was definitely feeding off of the YouTube fame.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, if she's got complete control over her children and can do whatever, they're going to do exactly what she says down to the T. She's got the perfect actors for her little scripted world that she's living in. And she can punish those kids however she wants. The kid's starving to death, put on these clothes that you can put on this makeup that doesn't make you look like you're, emaciated, and say these lines exactly right, or you're not going to get any dinner.
So this article, I'm going to go back to this article for just a minute.
You're right. There's just evil people in the world, period. And you can't rehabilitate them. Some people you can, but some people you cannot rehabilitate, period.
So I think maybe you're kind of onto something here, because this woman, big YouTube, right? And Deke, I know that you think about this all the time. What kind of interesting content can we put on the channel, right? It consumes your day, I'm sure.
I actually, there's 3 or 4 times when I actually go through and...
Okay. But this woman had like a big YouTube channel, and you start off with like, oh, I'm going to do this, and it catches on, and you're like, oh, I'm going to do this. And it had, but sometimes you run out of steam in terms of ideas.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. But you still got to put content out if you want to keep your channel up there. All right. On her now defunct YouTube channel, Frank often gave parenting advice that at times concerned her viewers. In 2020, viewers launched a petition to attempt to have CPS investigate her. Quote, she was often giving parental advice. Most of it seemed to showcase how she decided to punish her children in ways that became increasingly alarming and very questionable. She probably started off with like, here's a recipe, or here's some, how to hang some doodads or whatever. And, women kind of like to watch that kind of stuff. And, you run out of steam, and then you find some other things that get views in. Children discipline. She might have got some views out of that. And so she just kept leaning into it. The
problem is that all of these brand new parents out there think that they're the first parents to ever have children in the history of humankind. And they know exactly what to do with their parent because they've read all the books and they've done all the studying, because I did that. Let me tell you something that a lesson that I've got 5 kids now, 3 of my own, 2 stepkids. And this was told to me when Deacon was born, and I just had 1 child that was an infant. This was told to me by my boss, who had 3 children. He said, Andy, your first kid, you're like, here, you hold him, but keep his head and hold his head just right, and hold his neck, and be sure and got your hand underneath. And are you sure that you're holding him right? Now don't breathe too hard on him, because it's going to you might get your germs. He said, by your 3rd kid, you're handing them off by the ankle and dropping them and being like, you're all right. You just rub some dirt on it. You'll be okay. And that is God's honest truth. There's no other truth than that, So these people like her that are brand new parents are giving they're thinking they're the brand newest idea.
When she first started.
And well, even with this, I punish my kids this way. And then you've got all these gullible first-time moms watching this mess.
Yeah.
And y'all know as well as I do, every kid is different. Your 2 daughters are completely different. I could whip one of my daughters every 5 minutes for an hour, and she would be like, are we done? and then all I got to do is look at Deacon, and I've ruined his month.
I got those are two exact things happening right here.
Exactly.
There's one that I can be like,
so not everything works. So if you're watching parenting advice on YouTube, you need to switch channels and watch something else.
Like us.
For my kid that has the tough butt and it can take all the spankings, her punishment is usually, we're going to talk about this. And what do you think I should do? And I just sit there and make her like sit in it and think about it and talk about it. She hates that shit.
One thing I noticed several years ago were these, I'll just call them individuals from places of influence. They're usually ministers because of my circles. I've got this big church, right? So I'm qualified to write a book on parenting.
Yeah.
And your kid's how old? 3? What are you telling me about parenting? And you're at a big church. You meet actually how many people? Sure, you speak to thousands every week, but how many do you meet with throughout the week? How many? So these individuals who end up with huge pools of influence think they become the experts. And really, honestly, her situation with her kids is going to be completely different from the 3 of our experiences with our kids.
Exactly.
There's some general trends that are kind of some, but like,
I love the fact that I did not come home from the hospital with a manual. I had to figure it out.
Me too.
So my dad passed away when I was 16. And he had just like started to come back to this place of, he wasn't sick or anything like that. He had a brain aneurysm and just like that. But my dad had just gotten interesting. And I had just gotten interesting to my dad. And that's when I lost him. And I had to figure out how to I'll say be a man without my dad.
All of that part.
Yeah. Like everything. Because I was the oldest in the house. And how do you shave? How do you drive? All these things.
Gosh, man,
I'm so glad I didn't have YouTube back then, because you figure it out. But stop looking to YouTube for all of the answers and just figure it out.
If you want to fix your washing machine, JJ, you want to fix your dishwasher? Go look at JJ's face.
You son of a bitch.
Go to YouTube.
You son of a bitch.
But don't get parenting advice from YouTube. Get dishwasher.
It still doesn't work.
Figure it out, JJ. You're smart. You can do
I'm
this.
sorry to rub salt in that wound, JJ.
Call somebody who
it's
can.
Still,
exactly.
still doesn't work.
No, you're.
I'm not calling
exactly
anybody.
right.
I'm going to fix it myself.
Good.
That's you had to learn everything yourself, and that's sometimes trial by fire
that's rough.
Is a good way. Unfortunately.
All right. Hey, let's move on. We got more fun news.
Yes.
Hey guys, did you see this one? A convicted illegal immigrant killer escaped prison by scaling a wall. Check this out. Look how hard it is to get out of prison. You walk around a corner, he's over here on the left. Oh, let me make it bigger so you can see. You got your lookout here, just looking out. Hey, what's up? What's up? Oh, I'm just going to, okay. Up we go. Apparently you can just do that. And you're out of prison.
Is there like a warp zone up there, like Super Mario Brothers or something? Does that take you?
I have no idea.
Does that take you to warp zone 8? What's going on?
I don't know.
A couple levels.
But that guy, he crawled up that wall, probably got into a ledge or roof or something, scrambled up, went over some razor wire, off he goes. Convicted alien murderer who remains on the run escaped Chester County, Pennsylvania prison by scaling a wall, climbing over razor wire. On August 31st, 34-year-old illegal alien Danilo Cavalcante of Brazil escaped from the prison less than 3 weeks after having been convicted of murdering a 33-year-old Deborah Brandau in front of her 7-year-old daughter and their 3-year-old son in April of 2021. He received a life sentence without parole. This is not the only person he's murdered either. He is also on the run from a murder in Brazil. In 2017, after law enforcement issued an arrest, he crossed the U.S.-Mexico border, and then a multiple, I guess, serial murderer is now out and on the loose in Pennsylvania or somewhere. Cavalcante. So that's terrible and horrific. No, nothing fun about that. Okay. We have some information on the border. If the Biden administration is now considering a policy to prevent migrants. I thought this was interesting. To prevent migrants from leaving the state of Texas. Illegal immigrants sneak into Texas, and Joe Biden does not want them to get out of Texas. So essentially moving the national border to the north side of Texas. Here on, what is this? The Daily Caller. Here we go. All right. The Biden administration is considering a measure that would force migrant families seeking asylum to stay in Texas. The potential measure, which would hold migrant families in Texas until asylum is either granted or denied, comes amid a surging number of migrant crossings at the U.S.-Mexico border, with 177,000 border apprehensions recorded last month. Republican Texas Governor Greg Abbott has bussed tens of thousands of migrants out of the state in protest of the administration's refusal to secure the border into Democrat-run cities, including Denver, Washington, D.C., New York, Chicago, and Philadelphia. Texas's small towns remain overwhelmed and overrun by tens of thousands of people illegally crossing the border because of Biden's refusal to secure the border. The Biden administration plan would basically keep Mexicans in Texas.
Go by.
Oh, I think he's on that. He's on the air. So we have that, and a federal judge has ordered that Texas remove the little flotation barriers. Have you seen those flotation barriers on the river, Dave? Biden don't like that. That keeps people from crossing the river and then getting into Texas. Biden doesn't like that. So federal judge has ordered that be removed, but a Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals has issued a temporary injunction last Thursday, to allow the Texas to keep the barriers floating in the Rio Grande. The argument of Texas is that Texas has a constitutional right and obligation to defend our border from invasion, even if the federal government refuses to defend our border from invasion. Do you have any thoughts about our little floaty border, guys?
I talked to a guy from Mexico several years back who he was telling me, like, when he was a kid, he's here legally. I am unmuted, right? Yeah. He told me that you could really just walk across the Rio Grande. It's not that deep.
Certain parts of the year, certain places.
Yeah, they would bring watermelons across from Mexico into Texas, sell them, then go back to Mexico. And that was their way of making money. And this was back in the 70s. And I've seen that same story written, and I can't remember where it was written as well, but the border, yeah, it's there.
It's supposed to be a border.
Yeah.
Isn't Texas allowed to put up that floaty border? I don't think that's against the rules according to what they're. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, no, we have. There's somewhere in the Constitution is provisions for invasion, and in the Texas Constitution.
Well, I think from what I've heard, it's in the Texas Constitution that basically says, "Yo, if you want to put up a floating border, you got to do it this way," and that's the way that they done it. And people are like, "That's not nice." Well, no, but neither is armed guards with machine guns standing there, but we can go either way, you know.
The Texas Constitution, Texas has constitutional authority underneath the U.S. Constitution to declare an invasion at its border with Mexico. Oh. And then, having declared an invasion, we can repel the invasion.
Now, has
Texas declared an invasion?
Several counties have, for sure. I don't know if the state of Texas. Oh no! Back in July, Governor Abbott invoked the invasion clause. Here we go. This is reported on Fox News back in July. Article 4, Section 4 guarantees Republican form of government and protection against invasion. And so we've invoked this, but the federal judge in the Fifth Circuit doesn't find this argument to be very convincing. So, this is the way stuff goes.
What that guy says. I think it does. Do I cancel his vote?
If it's a federal judge, but it's a state constitutional right, I don't.
No. It's the U.S. Constitution that
Right.
allows us to yeah.
Okay, so then it can be trumped then by federal.
Yeah, it might be able to, maybe. I don't know. That's why we have courts, and it's also why even if you think something's wrong, you just try and see if you get pushback. That's what the Biden administration does.
You don't have because you don't ask.
We're going to cancel debt. You can't do that.
Right.
Okay, we're not going to cancel debt. We're just going to make it. We're going to make it very, very low to zero.
You're not going to get it
can't
if
do
they
that.
don't ask.
That's right. Don't ask, you don't get. Okay, I was going to go on about the New York. I mean, we shipped I just said a minute ago we had 177,000 apprehensions last month. In New York, we've sent a total of 100,000 over the past year or two. 100,000 of them. So 1 month's worth of migrants to New York and a sanctuary city, and they're like, "This is an invasion." It's because of Texas. Yeah, no, it's not because of Texas. New York. Okay. Are you guys done with the fun stuff? You want to go talk about some goofy, silly things?
No, I've got one more.
What do you got?
Excuse me. I got 4 hours sleep last night. I got one more nasty, not fun story.
Okay.
But this is your two dads your three dads wanting to inform you about some crap because you just need to be informed. You need to be vigilant. There's a lab in Willow Grove, the first in the world to identify a new synthetic opioid that is more potent than fentanyl. Fentanyl, if it has not hit your area, you are very lucky. I hope it never hits your area. But more than likely, it is probably in your area wherever you are watching this from. And it is nasty. One little bitty amount of this can completely kill you. This powder, let's see, the Center for Forensic Science Research and Education in Pennsylvania was the first in the world to identify a new synthetic opioid that researchers say is more potent than fentanyl. They said it's called nitazene analog, or Zine for short, a synthetic opioid. We do not know that it is responsible for the majority of death. I don't know what he's talking about, some deaths. Researchers linked 19 of the reported 20 deaths to the drug since the end of 2022. Someone is used to whatever. I don't give a crap about any. I'm not going to read any of that mess. But I just wanted to point out that there's some new crap coming up. It's nasty.
That's cool.
It is terrible. We've already seen obviously fentanyl is a big bad deal, right? A lot of people, and the thing is with fentanyl is they put this stuff in all kinds of stuff, and people buy one thing and then get that, and it's juiced with fentanyl, and then
they
dead.
die.
I was looking up the deaths by fentanyl. Do you guys know how many people die by fentanyl? Per month right now?
Annually? Oh, per month? Yeah,
I don't know. Fentanyl is a synthetic opioid that's 50 times stronger than heroin. And you're saying this thing is stronger than fentanyl.
Yeah,
fentanyl is 100. Fentanyl is 100 times stronger than morphine, according to the CDC. So good luck with this being accurate info. Deaths involving fentanyl have increased significantly in recent years. In just 5 years, death involving fentanyl rose from 6 per 100,000 to 22 per 100,000. So the fentanyl cause of deaths increased three times in just a few years. And let's see, what do we got? 300 million people. So I don't know. That's a lot of people. It's 22,000 people, maybe. No, it's 66,000 people or something like that.
And these people that are hooked on these opioids, okay, they get hooked on these opioids, these painkillers. Like my mom, who's not with us, for example, she had a bad accident, and she had an addictive personality anyway. And she started taking these opioids, and she got hooked on them, and she started abusing them, and she got off of them, and she got back on them, and she's no longer with us. But think about some of those addicts, that are hooked on these opioids, and those things are regulated pretty strictly by the medical centers that you go to. You have 30 in 30 days, and if you go through 30 in 2 days, you do not get your refill until it's time to get your refill. So what does that force these people to do? It forces these people to make phone calls and go the illegal way to try to get these pills. And sometimes they can get these pills from other people that are trying to survive, that have these pills, that don't need them. But a lot of times they get them from illegal narcotics traffickers who are cutting this stuff with the fentanyl.
I was a part of an arrest a couple of months ago, and we asked the lady, are you on anything? We take her booking. She's like, no. And then when we get to booking, she's like, I just need to let y'all know I'm going to be detoxing tonight. And they're like, okay, what'd you take? And she's like, I took 30s of this thing. And the guy said, 30s? They don't come in 30s. They come in 15s is the max. She said, oh, if you know the right person, they come in 30s. And that blew my mind, because it's not just that you can get a opioid of some flavor. You can get it in a different strength. Yeah, customized. And I had never, maybe I'm an idiot, I'd never considered the customization of pharmaceuticals. I
mean neither, but yeah, take 2 pills, condense it down into one, and
those pill-shaped things are just presses, right? So you could take a bunch of drugs, smash them up into powder,
water and pestle,
and then you just put them into a mold, and you press it down, and it looks exactly like a pharmaceutical pill.
When I had all of my health stuff last year,
natural stuff.
I was prescribed a bunch of painkillers and stuff, opioids. I never used them. I'm still getting letters from, I don't know what organization it's from, just letting me know that there's help out there.
Yeah.
If you or someone is addicted to opioids, all because I was prescribed the drugs, and they're gone.
Yeah. And isn't that sad that the pharmaceutical companies and this government knows that these things are so addictive that they are like, hey, this shit's going to make you so addictive, you're going to need great help getting off of it.
Then don't give it.
Here it is. Here it is. It'll only cost you $20 extra. And our people are mindless zombies. It's like you said earlier, JJ, these people in these cities that you see, they're just zombies standing.
Philadelphia.
It's so sad.
Those trank zombies.
The trank zombies.
Look at this, guys.
Here in Kentucky, you don't see so much that. You see the meth heads. Yes. All right, the scratchers.
Tweaking.
The tweakers, and they're sitting there, and you can tell the meth people because they're always
kind of jerky. They're fidgety. They're fidgety.
They're fidgety.
Yeah.
They fidgety. They cannot sit still.
Also, their teeth fall completely out of their head.
And they've got a lot of them have sores on their arms. If you
look at this,
not so much their face, but if you'll start looking at their arms and stuff like that, where they pick on their arms, you can see the sores.
So the National Institute of Health has a graphic of drug-involved overdose deaths among all ages by gender, 1999 to 2021. And this includes the fentanyl, but it has some beyond fentanyl. There was another study that I saw that had basically 30,000 less than this that were just fentanyl. But here's drug overdose deaths. Look at it. Look at it ramp up here.
Isn't that crazy?
By the time you got out of school, it was less than 20,000 a year, and now over 100,000 a year. And
when
most
did Biden
of them
take
are
office?
women. Right here. Yeah, look, during the Trump era, it went down. It went down during right before Trump. Right before Trump.
Look, you can see where Obama and then went down to Trump, and then up for Biden.
COVID. Yeah. Well, you had those checks go out. Yeah. I remember there was a guy that got busted here, and we're like, dude, why do you have cocaine on you? You've never had. It's my STEMI check.
Yeah.
Good gracious. All right, we can change subject. I didn't realize we only had a little bit of time.
Yeah, we're running out of time.
I've got one little cool one here for you guys, and then one sad one. You want to do the sad one first or the cool one first? Let's do the sad one first. Okay. So here's
which one's which? One. I know which one's which.
We've got 3. I'm going to skip one. So this is the
Hang
sad
on,
one.
folks.
I thought, oh man, this is super sad. Look at this, guys. In inseparable elderly lions, Hubert and Kalisa were put down together so that neither had to be alone. The iconic love story of Hubert and Kalisa became a bittersweet end in 2020. The inseparable pair of African lions who'd become a popular staple of the Los Angeles Zoo were both euthanized due to declining health and age-related illnesses that are said to have diminished their quality of life. They were longtime companions. They were both 21 years old and had far outlived the normal lifespan of lions. Isn't that sweet?
Yeah, I hope that whenever I get to be really old and I croak, that they kill my wife too. What the fuck?
They had degenerative health
fucking
issues.
awful.
They were both about to die.
I don't want to die. Don't do that to me. That's awful, Deke.
I think they were both pretty sick, JJ.
They were both losing weight, and
it wasn't like I'm going to kill my wife and put a bunch of statues like the Chinese emperors used to do and whatnot. We're going to kill pets and.
All right.
Okay, so there's your sad story. All right, let's get to the happy story.
What's the happy story?
The happy story is you two need to get off your. I'll fix it next time. You need to get off your butts and buy a metal detector.
I want a metal detector.
Quit eating bonbons like our. Gosh, stop calling me for a minute, man. Man bought a metal detector to get off the couch, and he made the gold find of the century in Norway. The Norwegian man thought his metal detector reacted to chocolate money buried in the soil, but it turned out to be 9 pendants, 3 rings, 10 gold pearls, in what was described as the country's gold find of the century. The rare find was made this summer by 51-year-old Erlend Bohr. That's a cool name. And he was in Norway. I can't say any of those Norwegian words. Bohr had bought his first metal detector earlier this year to have a hobby after his doctor ordered him to get out instead of sitting on the couch. He said, at first I thought it was chocolate coins or a Captain Sabretooth coins. I don't know what that is. Referring to fictional Norwegian pirate. It was totally unreal. This is the gold.
That's amazing that you can get a gold thing out there and walk outside and just get rich suddenly.
It looks like those do look like chocolate coins, don't they?
They do look like that. But keep reading. Read right below.
They look.
Read the sentence right under that photo.
Right under this photo.
Yeah, read that.
Under Norwegian law, objects from before 1537 and coins older than 1650 are considered state property and must be handed in.
Yeah, he won. Okay.
So the rest of this article basically tells what they think the pendants stand for and whatnot in Norway. Norwegian
cool.
Norway is where the Vikings lived. That's where my last name hails from. It's up in Viking land. I met some fellow Vikings last night. They heard my last name and they were like, I was like, yes. So very interesting.
So you need a Viking hat.
Arr.
So we need to make a your two dads Viking hat.
Yeah, I'd wear it.
I don't know if I have any Viking.
I've never pillaged anything before, so I don't know how that goes.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I pillage the cabinets sometimes when I'm really hungry, looking for candy. But
wow.
Ashley hides all the damn candy anymore. I don't know why. It's not like I'm diabetic.
Your Viking ghost ancestors are watching you right now as you open the cabinet, getting a Kit Kat out, and they're like, "I'm so disappointed in you." I sailed the Arctic oceans.
I discovered
my
America.
children.
I was telling the guy that I was sitting there with doing the football game with last night. I was like, it was along the same lines, but I was like, yeah, the dirtiest pictures you're going to find on my phone are like pictures of a strawberry shortcake or peanut butter cookies or something like that. You're like, I look at those like, oh, baby, what I would do to that plate of peanut butter cookies.
All right. To all you folks watching on Rumble, thank you very much for watching our show. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe, leave a comment. It's joke time.
It's joke time.
Oh,
all right.
Pastor of Disaster, do you got a yuck for us?
I do. What is one thing that can make any man mean?
I don't know.
I don't know.
The letter E.
Oh, I can't hear the boo button because the sound's messed up. Boo. I boo.
That's
You're
really
joking.
good. That's a good one. That's a good one.
What do you
See,
call
nobody
an
guessed
old
mine.
person? What do you call an old person that's really good at hearing?
What?
What do you call an old person that is really good at hearing? I hate you. Deaf-defying. Your turn. Go on.
What was it? Deaf-defying.
Deaf-defying.
All right. Where do nerds get their water?
Yeah, I don't know. Where do nerds get their water?
From a well, actually.
Thank you for watching, everybody. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, be back next week. Rumble.com/JJW. And you can get this kind of quality entertainment for free 5 times a week.
5 times a week.